Mythology and religion are two of the most studied and researched topics in the entire world, dating back as far as human history has been recorded. The idea of higher or multiple higher beings watching over the world and dictating how life plays out is something that has always interested me even growing up. Back in 7th grade, I was able to take a mythology class where my teacher covered popular stories from Greek, Roman, and Egyptian mythos. And I've been infatuated ever since the first time I read the Odyssey. Shout out Mrs. Day for showing me the love I have for mythology. Around the same time, I found out MOBAs like League of Legends. And despite my orangutan-esque build, I was quite terrible at it. But pawing around in the Xbox store since I had an HP laptop and was one Minecraft mod and LimeWire download away from exploding and lighting my parents' house on fire, I found a little ditty by the name of Smite. Now this was exactly what I was looking for. A MOBA that was third person so my sausage-like fingers could use a controller, and every character was a pretty accurate depiction of a god from real mythos and religion. I had hit the jackpot. This quickly became one of my favorite games, and I'm still playing it to this day. Oh, what the fuck, dude? I'm good, I swear. Other than my abysmal gameplay, the lore side of the game has always interested me as well. Like Hades slacking off and not guiding souls to the afterlife, leading them to find shelter with Anubis. And Hades being petty got upset and tried to kill Anubis, leading to Zeus to pull up and stop that from happening. And the next day, Ao Kuang, the Chinese dragon god, shows up to Mount Olympus and assassinates Zeus, turning the gods to fight over worshippers and start murdering each other from different pantheons. But that's a whole can of beans for another video. Today I want to focus on one god in particular and how accurate their Smite 2 version is to their real-life counterpart. And the god I'm starting with is my favorite little shapeshifter, Danzaburou. Danzaburou, or Danzaburou Tanuki, is a legendary trickster tanuki from ancient Japanese mythology, a tanuki being a raccoon dog from Sado Island. Tanuki are a real-life animal, and despite looking like a mixture of a raccoon and a dog, act more like cats, letting out noises like meows and arching their back to intimidate other animals. They have a life expectancy of 7 to 8 years and are found up in trees, usually foraging for fruits, getting blasted off alcohol, or hunting creatures smaller than them for sustenance. In some areas around the world, you can have them as pets, but it does come with a slight caveat being they smell terrible. Like, worse than a dirty chinchilla terrible. So I don't know if you really want this guy around your crib, but the reason they smell so bad is because that's how they find and identify each other in the wild. So, you know, they kind of need to. Another large part of this little creature's life is their massive gargantuan testicles. I mean, these things are kind of fucking wild. Tanuki can stretch their sacks to be umbrellas, hang gliders, weighted blankets, fishing nets, drums, a weapon when they're in a pinch, and overall a lot of practical uses. For example, when a Tanuki shapeshifts into a shopkeeper, their balls take the form of the shop itself, so that's just a scale of how large these things can get. They can get to the size of about a 7-Eleven. There's even a fun nursery rhyme that goes, タンタンタヌキの金玉は舞い風もないに Bra bra. Which means tan Tanuki's balls, even when there is no wind, they swing, they swing. This comes from old metalworkers and blacksmiths taking golden nuggets and smashing them down to the thinnest leaf possible, and it was said that Tanukis would even use their nut sacks to help squish down the nuggets to get them as thin as possible. So later on, Tanuki foreskin branded wallets were sold to... to be sold in the promise to stretch your fortune as much as a Tanuki can stretch his nards. That's why outside stores for symbols of wealth there will be statues, and those statues are Tanukis with their balls on prominent display. Tanukis are known for being shapeshifters and can even go about their daily lives as if they were humans, working jobs, going out for drinks and gambling, talking to coworkers at the water jug, and go their whole lives without a single human discovering they are in fact a Tanuki in human clothing. Danza was known for being able to shapeshift into different forms, like turning leaves into what looked like gold to sell them for some extra cash, and himself into humans to trick people and visit the doctor if he ever got sick. He would also lend people money if they were ever short on funds. And he was part of the big 3 Tanukis of Japan and pushed all of the fox spirits out of Sado to keep the people safe. Damn, it's kind of a nice guy. There are 2 different versions of this tale. One being that Danza meets a kindred fox spirit on Sado Island and she asks Dan to help her cross the island. But he says he cannot take her across in that form and asks her to transform into some zori, which are sandals. So he put them on, gets in his boat, and starts to sail. When he gets to the deepest part of the water, he slips off the shoes and throws them in, the shoes being the fox spirit. So that is where all this distrust from fox spirit comes from on Sado Island. The other version of the tale is Danza still meets a fox spirit, but this one is a lot more arrogant and boastful. So Danza tricks him into committing a cardinal sin. That sin, not really, I couldn't find out honestly what it was. And that sin causes a higher up fox spirit of the Fox Spirit Council to have him executed at once. Danza was well known for playing tricks on people, up until one day he played a trick on a man that just saw right through it. Danza had turned into a young woman who was acting ill of health and could not move. A young man who had heard his call ran over only to be suspicious right off the rip somehow, and tied Danza up to a pole and left the Tanuki confused. He requested to be let off at once, to which the man replied, "Even though you are a bad health, why do you want to be let off?" Danza, still being in the form of woman, yelled, "I want to go pee." And this made the man laugh, and he said, "If a beautiful woman like you will pee, I want to see it. Do it on my back." After the struggle went on for a little while longer, the peasant brought Danza back to his house, and Danza let out a "Isn't this my house?" leading the man to let him know exactly who he was, and the Tanuki changed back, profusely apologizing to the man, and ran off vowing to never trick another human again. Danza's lore in Smite is very similar to this, almost mirroring his real-life lore, except focusing on more of his love for sake and befriending his foes while planning his next trick or three on people opposing him. His kit in the game is an attack damage carry roll, so they gave him a yield and buster, and the rest of his kit is mostly fitting to his lore. His one ability is 3 old money bags he rolls out that gets any enemy hit by it so drunk off their ass that money falls out of their pockets, and when paired with his 2 it turns it into a shotgun. His 2 ability is a sake bottle that he takes a swig break from to heal, then throws it out taunting any enemy who sticks too close to it, letting the shotgun come out once more. His 3 ability goes back to the transformation in his lore and drops an AoE around him that gives him reduced damage inside and lets him float away as a leaf when he leaves the AoE, just like the leaves he used to scam people many times. Finally, his ultimate is a rocket that he pulls out of his ass, either launching it in heat-seeking mode at whoever's close enough, or catches a rat on it and drives it or flings it at whoever gets close enough to be exploded. Personally, I think his kit is peak and lets you be a mischievous little trickster just like Danza would want to be. But it doesn't really mirror his real-life depiction, since he wasn't really known for smoking busters with his gat or riding a rocket like the Nuka girl from Fallout. But it fits him for his personality, and I feel like that's what really matters when making an adaptation of a godlike figure for this kind of MOBA game. In conclusion, I feel as if they did a pretty decent job at bringing this funny little creature, this little character to life. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna have to give Danza's Smite lore being an accurate 70%. Due to getting his personality well, also not knocking points for the gun or the rocket, they lose 30% on not mentioning his monstrous, gigantic, iconic ball sack.